to serve as the president of our hometown local here in Alliance AFT. On behalf of the 66,000 members of the Texas American Federations of Teachers, welcome to Dallas. We're glad to be here. The 32nd Biennial Convention of the Texas AFT is hereby called to order. All right, at this time, we have some special people that are here with us that hopefully would like to give a few greetings. I'd like to introduce to you one of our heroes here in the Dallas area, State Representative John Bryant. If you would come on in.
Well, thank you so much and welcome to Dallas. I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted that I got to sit through the first set of awards and see all the energy in the room. It's just wonderful to see the direction that we're going at the grassroots level in Texas. The energy that is behind all of your efforts and your systems of people in the Western part of the United States to joining something. Joining the union, joining organizations to work together with unity to try to improve the lives of everybody in Texas, not just teachers, but all the kids at school, which means our whole next generation. In fact, that you're committed to that and doing it successfully is a terrific means of encouragement for those of us who are making laws every day and trying to do the same thing at a different level. I want to emphasize one thing to you. I want to say, first of all, thank you for your support for me and my colleagues in the legislature. We're truly grateful to you for the steadfast support that you give. But I think that AFT has passed the point where you are coming to us hand in hand, hoping we will support you. I think it's now the situation where members of the legislature, candidates for the legislature, are coming to you hand in hand, hoping we can earn your support. And I think that's how you begin to approach politics in this next election. I'll tell you what, I don't expect much out of Republicans, but I expect a whole lot out of Democrats. 50 Democrats, there are only 62, 150 members, there are only 62 Democrats. And when you're in a minority, and you guys have been there, unity is the only way that you're able to make any progress. Think of what 62 Democrats can do if we were unified behind a leader, the way 214 Democrats in Congress are unified between Hakeem Jeffries up there. Think about it. If we had a leader who knew that he could swing a bat that big every time he went to the Republican leadership and said, we're not going to do this unless you do this. It takes 100 votes to pass the Constitution. Nothing would pass if we said no as a unified group. But we are not unified. We went into the last session of the legislature, and we had the ability to pick between these two Republican candidates for Speaker and say, we're going to pick you only if you agree to the following things. No vouchers, for example. I can make a list, and I don't want to take the time making that list. But that's not what happened. Everybody scattered, a whole bunch of ran over and supported one of these, the incumbent candidate for Speaker, and he got elected. And what do we have? The worst session in the history of Texas. The most right-wing backwards session in our history. Think about if you were negotiating with a school district or any other employer, and a whole bunch of your members went around and talked to management and said, hey, we're on your side no matter what. Do you take away all the leverage from your negotiating leader? That's what happened in the legislature. I hope that you will help us stop that from happening. We need to have a unified office. I hope this year you'll start to feel your muscles enough to stay to an incumbent member or a new candidate What are you going to do the first day of the session? Are you going to vote for a Democrat for speaker and then stand behind your leader? Or are you going to go over here and try to make a private deal over here with the Republican speaker, like somebody did this last time? And if this is the second category, say, well, good luck to you. You know, we'll see you on down the road. We have people we want to support over here that are thinking ahead. I've taken advantage of this forum to make that point. I thank you so much for all the support you've given us already. I'm a union member myself. I'm looking forward to standing alongside you in the next session of legislature. Thank you very much.
Representative Bryant, thank you for being here representing the Texas Legislative Progressive Caucus. And we have an award, Texas AFT Acts of Courage Award, because it was primarily the Progressive Caucus that stood on all of the issues that mattered most to us, that spoke out. They weren't concerned about their chairmanship or their vice chairmanship and these other positions. John didn't say it because he got colleagues and I'm going to say it. That's why you have this unity. Because people are looking for the crumbs they can pick up for themselves in their spots. And that's why explain to me how you're using that position to stand and work for the people. Because it's not where we can see it real clearly, I'll be honest with you. And those are the questions that I think need to be asked the next time we decide to endorse people from both parties, particularly the Democratic Party.
Definitely a champion for us. Thank you so much, John. We also have some other guests that are here today. I'd like to invite Rick Levy, who is the president of Texas AFL-CIO, if you'd like to come and
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. How are y'all doing? It is good to be in a room full of union rabble-rousers from the Texas AFT. Thank y'all so much for being here for all your work. Question number one. Texas AFT is at the very backbone of the labor movement in Texas. I know that. I'm going to ask all of you who are officers in your Senate Labor Council, officers on the Texas FOCI Executive Board, to please stand and be recognized. Thank you all so much for your service. And you look around, and that's the whole state we're covering today. Thank you so much. And Zeph told me, he proposed to me that if he gave me a chance to love it, well, yes. He proposed to won the last one. He said, me last time. Why not? Thank you. Zeph, I said, Zeph, if I can come and say hello. He said, yeah, you can come and say hello, but we're going to need a little break on the range. Because y'all are now headquartered in the headquarters of the resistance in Austin, Texas. And it is so fun to say that our building is your building, just like our labor movement is your labor movement. We look forward to seeing you. And then lastly, this is we're just coming out of the legislative session, Representative Brian Thompson. And I was saying that I was counting it up. I've been in 17 legislative sessions, plus the special legislative session. And this was by far the worst, except maybe 2003. This was mean, it was ugly, it was backwards. But every single day, the Texas AFT was there. The Texas AFT showed up. The Texas AFT fought. In some cases, the Texas AFT won. Under these circumstances, and I just want to thank you all deeply for your work on behalf of all working people in the state of Texas. Patty, Kelsey, Zeph, Wanda, all of you local leaders showing up, making a difference, and making our voices heard. Give yourselves a hand for that. I think y'all got some business to do, so let's get after it. Zeph, thank you so much for having me. Rena, thank you for your hospitality, and look forward to seeing all the good work that's going to come out of this convention and beyond. And we'll see some people in San Antonio next week.
We did hear a little bit earlier from Sherry Smith. Are you still here? She may have stepped out, but we are so grateful for her partnership in the work that's going on as well. And I am going to take just a moment of personal privilege. I am honored to be the local president of Alliance AFT. Would all of the Alliance AFT members please stand up? Thank you all so much for spending a couple of days with us, with your union, and getting to know brothers and sisters around the state. Sharia, you did come back. Come on down if you'd like to share another word of greetings. Just hello from your group. We may have had a few come in that didn't get to hear you earlier. So just giving you the opportunity to say one more thing.
Hey guys, I was trying to take one of your all-in shirts. Download the app, but again, greetings again from the American Federation of Government Employees Local 252. We are a national local that represents every employee at the U.S. Department of Education, and I know you guys understand that we have been under the gun. Well, thank you. Honestly, I stand on the shoulders of AFT, public schools in Indiana, and certainly in the shadows of the Chicago Teachers Union and the other AFT. I mentioned this earlier, but I was a classroom teacher in the RTD myself, so and all the 956 teachers here. I left the classroom, went to law school in Austin. I was able to dedicate my career as a civil rights attorney for the U.S. Department of Education. We have been able to, the Dallas office was the busiest office protecting Texas students, making sure that they, all received a free and appropriate public education, regardless of their race, their gender, their disabilities. Certainly in this administration, they want to sideline that, and I am so excited to be in a room with other professionals, other unionists who will not let that happen. Thank you all so much for your support, and thank you for my time.
All right. We're going to move on now to the report of the Rules Committee. Zeph, let me make sure I didn't leave you out. We're good. Okay. We are moving on to the report of the Rules Committee. The current rules of this convention have been provided to delegates. The Rules Committee moves adoption of the rules with the following amendment. On section 1, credentials, line 1, we want to add the following text: or electronically if accepted by Texas AFT. You should be able to see that on the screens. The amended sentence shall read, delegate credentials must be submitted by locals using the paper form provided by Texas AFT or electronically if accepted by Texas AFT. The purpose of this amendment is to follow current practice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You've heard the report of the committee. The amendment has been properly moved and seconded as it's coming from committee, and we would now be open for discussion and debate. See no one at the mics, I'm gonna take that as a sign that we're ready to move forward with the vote. All those in favor of the rules as amended by the committee, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, the rule is passed. We have our new rules for our 32nd annual.
So much. I'd like to say a thank you to Shonda Belo, President of the Northeast Federation. Northeast Houston, who is my vice chair for the committee. And thank you. I know that they've had some pretty eventful events the last couple of days. So thank you for all of the work that you all are doing to take care of that. And welcome to Dallas.
Welcome, everyone. Wanda Longoria, I'm Secretary Treasurer for Texas AFT, and I'd like to give the credentials report to you this afternoon. But before I do that, I'd like to recognize my Vice Chair, David Amber. If you'll wave or stand, David, we really appreciate your help. Mr. President and my fellow delegates, the Credential Committee hereby reports the following. Total number of delegates available, 1,218. Total number of votes available, 30,454. Total number of delegates present, 115. Total number of votes available, 2,875. This report is as of 1:30 p.m. today, and we will provide an updated report tomorrow morning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You've heard the current credentials report. There is a motion from the committee to accept that report until we have an update. And we are ready to move to a vote. I see no one at the mics. All those in favor of accepting the credentials report as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the motion carries. Thank you. Next up.
Public schools are the heart of our communities. Let's keep them strong. Kids, our families, and our future.
90% of students in Texas attend public schools, and it's not because they can't afford private school. It's because public school is a better choice. Public schools, as we heard today, serve to segregate the population while achieving profit for their shareholders. It just feels like you're sabotaging public education.
We came into this session asking for basics. We defined workdays, fair grievance processes, and enforceable class size limits. Those aren't in this bill and would be greatly appreciated by educators. Let me be clear, educators want to see this profession. Respect isn't just a slogan, it's policy and action.
I'll never forget a few months ago, and for the company, I had one of my students asked, what about weakness problems? That question has stayed with me. I never want any of my students to ever fear or wonder, what about me? I want them all to know and feel proud of their heritage. This bill isn't just about curriculum. It's about giving every student the chance to feel that their story matters. Because it does. I'm in the back and breaking. I'm on and take it. Breaking there, no mistaking. Turn down, good mistaken.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, are you all in? Are you all in? This is Dallas, Texas. Are you all in? And for our senior leaders, we welcome back to the stage the president of the Texas AFT, Zeph, Capo. I really love that when we're together. We as a family are better when we're together. We can do so much more with the solidarity and standing and supporting one another than we could ever do on our own. So I love that one song. Good afternoon, AFT. Welcome to the 32nd Annual Convention of the Texas American Federation of Teachers. Whether you're here this time as a delegate or guest, or if you're watching this at home on YouTube or Facebook, I'm proud to join you today as we celebrate our shared work as a union. I need to go impromptu and say a few things that are not easy to hear, but they need to be said at this moment in time. For some housekeeping rules, I think that many of you have heard already that our brother Ken Serapis is not able to be here, that he is fighting for recovery from an auto accident in Austin. We think about him every day and doing everything we can to help provide with the family, with the kids, the youngsters that we've got at home. I just want to take a moment to think about him and his recovery. Something that we got on our plate this morning that was somewhat devastating. I'm going to ask the local president of Lone Star College and Northeast Houston AFT to come up to the stage for remarks. But you know, a good organizer knows first and foremost, you build relationships. People that you work with, the people that you're trying to move, the people that you're helping to overcome fear to work for justice in the workplace. You build relationships because they have to know and trust that you're there with them. Eden Uwabale was one of our organizers. He started with us in Lone Star College as a part-time organizer and was a fantastic young man who then transitioned to a full-time position that we had in Northeast Houston. And tragically, he lost his life. He lost his life trying to rescue and save the building rat that he was on vacation with. And so we lost one of our worker leaders from Northeast Houston. We lost an organizer. And the third organizer who is luckily safe, but was there with them, is dealing with the tragic loss of my mom. So we want to recognize that. These are our union siblings. And I want to bring up Shonda to talk about the building rep and the organizer, and after we hear from John to give us some words about it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. This morning during breakfast, I received a call from my old principal and now my current assistant superintendent in Channel ISD to inform me that one of our members, Kiara Dunn, was drowned last night. She had rented a beach house with some other coworkers at the elementary school that I taught at. They decided to all go in and spend some time celebrating Juneteenth. And then she said, Ms. Belo, I need to let you know that I heard the young man with AFT, your organizer, was also there with her, and he drowned in his body. Has not been recovered. It's devastating to lose someone like that. ID is just 31. He's very passionate about his job. He loved organizing. He loved talking to people. I had to make a call to his mom because when I called his phone, I thought I was gonna hear him answer. Since they hadn't recovered his body, I was expecting for a miracle. Because those of you know me know that I believe in miracles. But I didn't answer the phone. His mother, I got his number from his mom. His mother's number. I called her. She was very calm. But later I found out that probably the reason why she was so calm was because his body had been recovered. Then I received a text from a old coworker, asking me to get the information from his family. Because they said she was friends with Kira's mother. She said Kira's mother was reaching out and wanted to reach out to the family because he lost his life to save her daughter, Kira. What I want you all to really hear from me right now is, some people say that I'm very nice, passive, easy to work with. And I thought I was tough on ID. But ID's mom told me, he always talked about you. He spoke very highly about you. And he loved what he was doing. So my message to each of us is it is time for us to understand the importance of how we make people feel. We need to recognize that. I'm gonna miss him tremendously. But his legacy will be lived and he's gonna carry on some type of way.
Thank you. Ken Capellian and I interviewed Ivy when he first applied to be an organizer part-time for AFT Lone Star College. And if you've done this work for very long, every once in a while you meet somebody and you realize this guy is it. This guy is the real deal. This is the guy that's passionate about serving, passionate about people. And I thought at that time and told Cap, this is somebody who's going to be a national speaker at some point. And when I found out that he was in line for the job at Northeast Houston, I talked to Chandra, and she had me up for a recommendation. It's very tempting to say the wrong thing, because I didn't want to lose him. But of course, I told him that she had to hire him. He is the best. He was truly the best. And the fact that he died trying to help somebody else, that tells you more about who he was than I could possibly say in any kind of speech. So we are a family, right? And families have traditions. We all stand together on this. And I'd like to ask us to take a moment of silence. If you're a praying person, pray. If you're not a praying person, send energy out into the universe. The memory of these two fine people, and also that we take from them the inspiration to keep on fighting and keep on working. Because we all can make a difference like this as we continue on. So we just take a moment of silence. Oh, Shonda would like to say one.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to change the rules a little bit, so. I failed to tell you all about Kiara. Kiara was a paraprofessional. So as a special ed teacher and all of our educators, we know we cannot live without our parents. She was passionate, she was dedicated. I remember when she first met ID and she was like, "This beautiful, who is that?" I said, "That's how we were organized." "Oh, okay." I said, "Kiara, we got to grow, we got to learn." "Oh, that's good. I'm So I wanted to let you know that she loved the union work as well. And she loved him. And the last plan that they created together, they emailed Derek and I on Tuesday. And I had someone to validate the plan and said that it was an excellent plan for what they wanted to do for the rest of the summer. I had to mention that about here. So now if we could take a few moments of silence to honor these two people, ID and here. Oh, there. Oh, okay. Thank you, Derek. Yeah, Derek is also working with us, ID and here when he knows. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those words about their life and your focus in the work. It means a lot. So let's get all the housekeeping news out of the way first. I'll interrupt my speech to kind of go through this. I had this conversation with staff, and this conversation with the AFT Executive Board. For those of you that may or may not necessarily know, I was diagnosed with cancer April 25th. I am currently in treatment. I'm almost halfway through. I have a great team in Houston. I have a great support network. So that's what one of the lucky times to be from Houston is you get to go to MD Anderson. I want to give you transparent because I'm in I'm running for election, but the prognosis is from two of our doctors. They have stated that they are expecting a 95% chance of a cure. I'm forever grateful for the support of my Texas A&T family. Everybody has stepped up, that's heard about it, to do what needs to be done. But let me tell you, I'm also standing up in the fight. I go to treatment at 7 o'clock so that I can be at work by 8. I've been working remotely for the last couple of weeks in Houston. If I don't feel good, I've got sick days, and that's before I get to go on vacation after the convention is over. So I'll be in staycation for a month in Houston with the whole family, and I'm expecting to hold those doctors accountable to that cure rate. I wanted to be clear about it as well too, because over the last few weeks, I feel calling to not be private about this. The cancer that I have is called oropharyngeal cancer. It's in the throat, it's on the top. And the cancer that I have is prevented, could be prevented. Hits women as cervical cancer. Unfortunately, the vaccine came out too late for me and my generation. But more unfortunate is we live in a time right now where science is questioned, where our doctors, who, despite all the stuff about the ones that want to go make a lot of money, doctors who can see me have done a lot of work, a lot of things. They spend their time in research. They are actually, some of them, our members as part of AAUP. And they're focused on trying to make people better. And they have someone who is in the head of the medical branch of our government who doesn't believe in vaccines, who doesn't believe in science, and has pushed conspiracy theories to the point that our people don't trust. And that's why I feel compelled, because they may not trust the other folks, but they need to hear from the people who are going through the treatment. Whereas I have a great prognosis for cure, I have lifetime changes that will follow me. I have loss of bone that's going to be expected in my jaw. I have 33 days of being zapped and burned in the radiation center. I have weeks of chemo to go through, to meet through these things as well too. All of this is potential because the virus that started my disease, 80% of our population will have come in contact with it by the time they're 45. So anybody in this room that's over 45, the likelihood is 80% of you have come in contact with this virus and transmitted it, and you didn't even know it. Because there's no signs necessarily, there's no symptoms, they're not necessarily testing. Most people pass it through. But very unlucky people catch some high-risk issues that could have been prevented with this vaccine. And like, it's not pains me to say it, and I will be saying it out publicly, that Rick Perry was right. Probably his administration, but he was right. The only difference was young women and young men need to get this vaccine, period. And so that's going to be part of the work. That was the interruption. I just wanted everybody to know I'm perfectly fine. My health is good. I still have plenty of energy. Luckily, it's tied with time I have off to finish the rest of it, and I'm planning to be ready to go back roaring in August with each and every one of you. So thank you for the support. As we move further, we need to acknowledge that this convention takes place on the traditional ancestral lands of Kickapoo, Talatoni, Wichita, and Humanos peoples. We honor their lives and cultures and acknowledge the impact of settler colonies that separated them from this land. Today, we recommit to teaching the true history of our state and the nation that we live in. Truth does not have an agenda, though in these times, it may be radical. In our work, we teach the truth so that we do not repeat the mistakes and the failures of the past. We teach the truth because our children deserve no less. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge a few important people we have here with us today. First and foremost, thank you again to our convention hosts, Zeph AFT, celebrating their 35th anniversary this year. And I'm going to be remiss not to mention that this is an important milestone, but there's another important milestone for our Dallas local. And it's a bit bittersweet for us. Our dear friend and longtime Secretary Treasurer of our host local alliance, AFT, Pat Jones, will be joining our retiree warriors soon. Because as you know, activists never retire. We honor Pat's 40 years with the Alliance and the Dallas Federation of Teachers, her lifetime of service to our members and service to Dallas families in the middle school where she worked prior to coming to AFT. Thank you, Pat. Can everybody give Pat a wonderful round of applause? You'll hear from him tomorrow. We also want to thank James Towery. Really needs no introduction in this room of educators. Y'all can give him his flowers tomorrow. But I say this. He showed what it meant to leave it all on the field in the fight for thriving Texas public schools. Finally, one more thank you to a legislator who couldn't join us today, but stood with us during this legislative session, because we're here in Dallas. Representative Vincent Jones was a soldier from the educators of life. Representative Jones went back for our classroom support staff. He moved a nurse notification bill to add librarians and counselors. Furthest legislative process has gone since the governor vetoed it in 2017. He also came damn close to passing a bill to rein in our custodians' workloads through the Texas House, and we thank him for all of that work. I also want to recognize who's not here, but is a member of that progressive legislative caucus as well. Someone who's been on family with the State Board of Education, but was a freshman this year to the legislature, Representative Achia Davis. We cannot go without acknowledging her work and support and friendship to Texas A&T. She came in with knowledge about our work in a deep and profound way that is often unheard of from a freshman member of the legislature. And it is proper, since we are in Dallas, to recognize her Alliance AFT and our Southwest Dallas chapter that works so closely with her. Thank you. There are a number of guests from our next family, including our very own AFT Secretary Treasurer Fedrick Ingram. You will hear from him. Hello. Y'all know that I will look for any excuse not to wear a coat and tie. I kind of think all of this treatment on my neck area was taking it a little bit too far. But just so you know, it would normally be in dapper dress like a secretary treasurer on first day of convention. But I still have pockets full of cream that have to go on multiple times a day. So you just get me ready in the Hawaiian shirt for the reception later today. All right? Tomorrow, we're also here from our national president, Randy Weingarten, as we talk about a very important panel outlining decades of our work in the Social Security Affairs. We've got fantastic state partners, including our students, who will join us over the next couple of days. I named them all here, but that put us even further behind schedule. Because it's my job now to talk about the state of our union. I am happy to report the state of our union is strong. So I'm deeply distressed to tell you that the state of our state and the state of our nation are not. Just 6 days ago, more than 5 million Americans took to the streets in a national day of violence. Many of you participated in No Kings protests with your fellow union members, colleagues, friends, and families. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for being part of it and having Texans counted in full order and that 5 million Americans who stood for our democracy and our constitution. We did not protest because we hate America or however extremists want to spin it. It's actually the opposite. We marched and rallied last week because we love this country. We understand that this country was built on dissent and protest. You can't revere the original Tea Party, even naming your political party after it clearly showed that you don't understand about this person. And then complain when people protest just because you don't like what they may have to say. Not in our country. In the United States of America, our government is supposed to be of the people, and the people, and for the people. As such, it is our duty to protect that government and uphold our Constitution, both for ourselves and our future generations. Our country was built on dissent and protest. When power is abused, and when the might of our government is turned against us, our countrymen and women, it is our duty to stand up and speak out, even if that means speaking out against the president himself. These are dark days, both in our state and in our nation. In just the past month, the president has sent National Guards on citizens in Los Angeles. What crime did legitimate protesters commit? Exercising their rights to peaceably assemble and opposing immigration raids against their neighbors. Our own union brother, David Huerta, with Service Employees International Union, was attacked, injured, and unjustly detained by federal agents. In Texas, Donald Trump's Justice Department sued the state and Greg Abbott and Kim Paxton were all too ready to revoke in-state tuition for our undocumented students. Something that was passed and championed by a former Republican governor. I'll say it for the second time. Rick Perry was right. Literally days after we fought off the repeal of the Texas Dream Act in the legislative session, our state officials brought people at the meeting of the president and sold our state's future in what could be described as collusion. That would warrant investigation if it wasn't collusion between the top two law enforcement agencies of our state and country. This act by those in charge was cruel, short-sighted, unfortunately not at all. I could go on with the problems we face, whether it's hateful, radicalizing rhetoric that led to the assassination of a Minnesota legislator just over a week ago, or Trump's wild push to redraw our already gerrymandered congressional maps. All these things and more keep us up at night. I know the anxiety that you feel. I hear it from members across the state every day. They worry about their school funding. They worry about their own physical safety. They worry about the ability to give students the support they need. And yet, they show up every day in our classrooms, on the buses, in the cafeterias, and on our college campuses, and they show up outside work too. In 2025, Texas A&T mobilized 19,579 unique and individual souls that were educators, parents, and allies to fight for our schools, colleges, and our universities. We trained, you think, we trained over 600 testifiers during this legislative session. Yeah, our primary members moved into the Capo from March to May as lawmakers for just about everything they had in punishing our colleges and universities. No one thought they were fighting a winning battle, but they showed up for every 18-hour meeting and ahead of every shameful vote. Folks will say a lot of things about us, but our biggest haters have to agree on one thing. Even when things get hard, especially when things get hard, our union shows up. And I need you to know that. Even when it doesn't feel like it, you and your colleagues showing up matters. 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, we were given Cali for our last convention. Think back. Through our advocacy, we stymied Governor Abbott's voucher scam at the cost of our school funding and our home races. We didn't know at the time, but we would be fighting that voucher in special sessions for a number of months. But we did it. In fact, our advocacy was so effective, it forced the governor to go out and buy a legislature with Zeph money to do his bidding 2 years later. $90 billion. We stopped counting in the primaries at 40. Our friends and allies in the research area did the counting. $90 million was raised to pass voucher bills, most of it going to the state of Texas. Now you remember that. But do you remember what we fought for 2 years ago? A $10,000 raise for our pre-K to 12 teachers and real meaningful raises for non-classroom and support staff who make their work possible. We didn't get it in 2023. But you've got to remember, this legislature operates on the tape delay. It takes moments to lose, but years to win. And in 2025, amid the worst legislative session in recent history, we walked away with House Bill 2. It's flawed, doesn't do enough. But for some of our rural teachers that have not had raises in a long time because it's hard for their communities to cover them, well, not get 8,000, not get 10,000, but $8,000 for our teachers for the first time ever. That kind of raise coming out of the state legislature. We had to sacrifice something because in the negotiation, and I said earlier on, look, this is the money we have, can't get more money. I mean, I had this talk about it. We need to get some ratios that recognize our teachers face cost of living issues that are far different than the rural and their staffs. That's how we were able to move the $4,000 to $5,000 to make the numbers work. Negotiating behind the scenes, working through many pieces to get this done. It's not easy, but we got it. And I want to say the other piece that was hinging on this, I think this is in my work somewhere because I don't get it. When we look at it, and we have the receipts to show it, because we have the copies of the testimony from all of the every single other organization, and some of them y'all might be affiliated with, that shows we were the only organization that said not without support staff. That was put into the record. Publicly and up front every single time. So when we say the Texas AFT stood the line on everybody's included, I know we had a part in getting that allotment for support staff put into this bill before it got passed. So thank you to our activists who stood up for that. Thank you to everybody who stood with their colleagues and said, no, not just alone, not just us. We've got to break it loose. So let me ask you this. Do you think this $500 million for support staff and our union doesn't, do you think this bill includes $500 million if our union doesn't show up? I sure as hell don't. Let me remind the room, it wasn't our voice. Texas A&T was the only, I'll say it because it's right here, and I mean only organization that insisted support staff be included. So I would say that power concedes nothing without demand. It never has, and it never will. Frederick Douglass's words are ones that we can live by today. And it usually doesn't concede a damn thing quickly. Just ask our retirement plus members. It took decades to win a COLA for our retired educators. But in November 23, with the highest voter turnout in an all-year election in 20 years, we did it. Yeah. It took decades. You'll hear about this tomorrow. The history of our union from John O'Sullivan, our former Secretary Treasurer, who led the fight, starting at least 40 years ago, if I can count, to repeal the WEP and the GPO. But in January of this year, I was in the White House when President Biden signed the Social Security. Everyone in this room has received a copy of Texas A&T's biannual. If you're watching online, there should be a link on your screen to read the digital version. Now this thing's 40 pages long. Why? Because our members across Texas have fought, and they have won, whether that's respect in their paychecks, working conditions, or power and outcomes. Northside AFT, where you at? Last month, Northside AFT won a union-backed majority over the school board, including the 3 officers. Last November, Education Austin, they pulled off a clean sweep. They have every contested school board race and flipping the board entirely after years of organizing. And it's rare that we celebrate the defeat of the school board. First time ever in my history. But look what TEA and the occupiers made us do. In November, the Houston Federation of Teachers, hand in hand with parents from Houston CVPE, denied because say it with me, HFT, no trust, no harm. I might have a little bit in the middle here too, just as a cautionary table. We had 7 of 9 of those trustees, 5 of them AFT union members on the board, and if you don't believe that there wasn't a constructive attempt to come up with a reason to take over the district, they did not want that kind of position where we were, and they wanted our multi-billion-dollar budget. Education Austin, North Side, y'all want to look at them. You cannot give them the space and room. We need to make sure that we have a meeting about these things and cover so that we can support you. Because it's already trying to probe in Austin. Who knows what they're going to come up with in North Side next. When you win power, the fight is not over. Because then you have to protect it for the right reasons. And you have to wield power in a just way that your community sees it, that your family see it, maintain and build that support, and never forget the power comes from. You don't have to be a big local union to win either. Leading with their members' voices, and I'm very proud of this. I live in their district. The Bastion Federation of Teachers met the district leaders this spring about safety concerns. They shared survey data and engaged in good faith bargaining with administrators. And by the end of their sessions, they had support for returning crucial behavior intervention employees to campuses, requiring the admins to sub at least 1 day per semester. I can't very well talk about wins without shouting out San Antonio Lions. I don't think there's been a more beautiful sight for us for the past 2 years than our San Antonio members standing before the school board with a banner of 1,500 signatures in support of our union's educator Bill of Rights. And it wasn't just a pretty picture of a catchy slogan. San Antonio wants organized, mobilized, and one of the largest school board's pay raise packages, along with extra teacher planning time and new mental health resources for students. That's exactly what we wanted when Texas AFT surveyed our members and held focus groups with our members and drafted the Educators' Bill of Rights alongside our leaders from our locals and our activists. With our members, it was intended to serve as a vision for the schools our students deserve and a tool for change at the state and local levels. In the 89th legislature, we had 71 bills filed by lawmakers in support of the Educators' Bill of Rights. Close to a dozen of those bills got committee hearings. A handful even passed through the House. And just House Bill 2, two of our Bill of Rights priorities were able to hitch a ride and go into the legislation. Free pre-K for educators' children. Regardless of what school you're at in Texas. And a requirement that your district notifies you if there's a credible threat on your campus, which was part of our safety agenda. Are we disappointed more of these bills didn't make it over the finish line of the session, the governor's desk? Of course. But you see, it's hard to move a lot of proactive, positive policy when you've got a governor breathing down the necks of lawmakers. Ready to primary anyone who steps out of line with his priorities. Just as he did 2 years ago, Greg Abbott wasted our time and tax dollars ramming through private school voucher issues. This time he was successful, but he defeated enough before vouchers sucked up most of the time in the legislature's attention. There's also the matter of this legislature's other priorities. Bullying our colleges and universities into obedience. This one's on the lieutenant governor. As bad as the session was with pre-K 12 education, don't get me started on nonsense like the Furries Act. It was worse for higher education. Senate Bill 37 is a grave of the threat to higher education as vouchers to pre-K 12. Our state will feel the ramifications of both bills for years to come. While I'm grateful for the tireless efforts of our members and organizers to be able to blunt some of the worst censorship aspects of Senate Bill 37 before it finally passed, and for that, we held down on applause. Truth of the matter is, even under the best circumstances, most groups understand it takes 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 cycles to have a chance of getting their bills passed. The fact that we passed what we did, pre-K access, support staff development, negotiated raises, safety, the first time under these conditions is a testament to the almost 6,000 member activists that showed up and put in work. Well, what do we do about all this? Where do we go from here? I wish I could say there's a magic solution to the problems we face, but I can tell you that the only ones who can save us are our schools and our students are us. As I see it, there are 2 missions in our union over the next years to come. First, we must double down on our support for and protection of our public schools, colleges, and universities. The privateers and the zealots have bought this legislature and our state leadership, but they cannot buy this. No matter what they say, the many can overcome by work. Yes. And before you ask, yes, You can buy new merch from the Texas AFT store. And yes, it does act as a donation to Capo. Over the next 2 years, we will go all in for our public schools, ensuring our parents, support staff, and all valued employees get their fair share of new funding and supporting our federal members through implementation of Senate Bill 37 and the other measurable attacks on the college and university legislature. We must also change who runs the state. There's no way around it. We will never win thriving schools with grifters and privateers and zealots holding the strings of those in higher office. We will never kick them out of office unless we grow our movement. In the November 24 election, voter turnout in Texas AFT members was 74%. That's great. That's 13 percentage points higher than registered voters. But we have 25% to move with. And we have a bigger number. We've got to make a big pie. We've got to make a bigger pie. But I want to recognize that our members do show up and they vote. The simple truth is that we need more of them. So this is my second challenge for today. We must grow both through organizing more colleagues and by building stronger coalitions for students and parents. In the past 2 years, we've welcomed 3 new unions into our family. Brownsville educators stand together. Spring AFT. Texas AAUP AFT. And we are exploring new organizing models through state-supported chapters in Southwest Dallas and Waco. We hope you will support later through this convention. And ask the delegates of all of our unique locals to stand and be recognized. I'm also proud of the work that we're doing in our associate membership program to build our bench in districts like Katy ISD, Johnson ISD, and in the districts that make up the new RGB AFT. We need more network to build our power locally, and a key piece of the puzzle is forging stronger connections with the other major stakeholders in our schools, parents and students. Over the next 2 days, you'll hear from 2 organizations to give you hope: Houston CVPE and Students Engaged in Advancing Texas. One representing our community organizations, one representing our student allies. Please listen to the wisdom they share and take those lessons back to the community. And I'm close here in true every fashion of says our teachers. From the depth of need and despair, people work together, can organize themselves to solve their own problems, and fill their own needs with dignity and strength. The state of Texas will not take care of us, so we will take care of us. And in doing so, we will change the state of Texas for the better. Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all very much. We don't have any video or anything. We don't have any video or anything, but we're going straight to very good. So that I can take a break, blow my lotions and waters, I am very proud to introduce my brother on the executive board, someone who I've known for some time, someone who comes from the city that I first started my teaching career, someone who has been a friend of Texas. I know he knows Dallas and loves Dallas. Welcome to the stage our very own AFT Secretary Treasurer, Fedrick Ingram.
Texas, how you doing? Well, I like that kind of thing. I like that kind of thing. Listen, I like being in the South and Southwest because I can say words like y'all and y'all get me. It's funny, it's all good, everybody's cool, you know, we know what the vernacular is. Yes, we all good. So for those who don't know, I'm from Florida. So you have a bad governor, I will raise you one. Okay. Yeah. You had a couple bad presidents. I will raise you one of those too. Got a couple bad senators. I'll raise you a couple of those too. Want to race to the bottom? Get it. Florida is starting at ball one. Listen, first of all, say it one more time. Got you. Listen, let me give a quick shout out to my brothers out. Words cannot describe what you are showing in the face of thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do. You did that. To your team, Wanda, and to the rest of the team, the executive board, the building reps. When I was state president of Florida, I used to call my folks the vanguards, the ambassadors, the freedom fighters, the rebel rousers, the table shakers, the heroes, the truth tellers, the unsung heroes, the get it done folks. Thank you for what you do. And you in Texas, you represent PSRPs. Let me first give a shout out to my PSRPs. So I oftentimes tell this story because, I pull my kids with the public school. I have 3 kids, and I would put my young people on a bus at 5 o'clock in the morning. And that bus driver becomes the most important person in America. And in fact, the world. We expect that person to pull on their seatbelt, kick the tire, do the all inspection check, make sure they drink some coffee, hit up the stop sign and red light, and still make $10 to take care of their own family and get my precious cargo to school and back at the same time. And so I never go any meeting without thanking the PSRPs who take care of our to our college and university folks who are here in higher ed, we have never seen anything quite like the visceral attack that we see squarely on professors and instructors and grad assistants and academic freedom and tenure, and where we are supposed to be teaching young people the best of who they are so that we can be the best of who we are. The attack on trying to control the Bible, the attack on trying to control the curriculum is unprecedented today. And I'm asking all of my higher ed folks to hang in there, because it is where we find ourselves. It is where young people become the best of America in your classroom and in your studios. And so thank you for the work you do. And to my colleague, I'm a high school band director in training. High school band director. There you go. Got some old band heads in here, right? Yeah, I went to old HBCU, Don't Cook University, so I used to step down. So, but that's another argument. A little too old for that. But I teach you at halftime, okay? Listen, to my K-12 folks, we have been taking it on the chin for a long time. And every year we say, I've never seen anything quite like this. And then they come back again, I've never seen anything quite like this. And we just keep coming back, and we keep coming back, and we keep coming back, and we keep coming back. And every single year, the fruits of our labor are always in May and June, because kids still graduate. They still matriculate from elementary school to middle school. You ever seen a parent go to 5th grade, exercises and their eyes get bright because they know that that's the hope for this family. You ever seen a middle school kid go from middle school to high school and the anxiety that they feel going to that next level? You ever seen some of these graduations, some of these parents just go crazy, they look like losing their mind, they start dancing, bullhorns, the whole nine. I don't ever condemn parents for doing all of it. You know why? Because high school graduation is the hope. It's the opportunity that my family can be a little better. It's the opportunity that this kid that I put 18 years in, somebody helped me with him. To get this kid to a point of adulthood. And so some of those parents don't control it in a way that we like to see that spirit of reverence. It comes out anytime they start dancing, the music going, and then the principal looking crazy, like, I can't believe these people are doing this. But truly, if you conceptualize it in the way that it is, that mom may not have a high school diploma. That grandmother, like mine, may be one generation removed from illiteracy. The very Bible that my grandmother taught us from, she couldn't read. My grandmother. And so for my high school graduation and everything, it made everything turn. I was the first in my family to go to college. The first in my family. And the reason I tell you that is because you had some firsts too. And we continue to have all these firsts in your classroom. You continue to make the match, even when they defund us. Even when they vilify us, even when they try to make us the enemy, even when they try to tell us your insurance should be higher, even when they tell you you have to split bills to come to work, even when they tell you that we're going to give you more money, just do more. We keep coming back, and we keep coming back, and we keep coming back. That's what we do, because we're educated. Because if we're going to make this democracy better, if we're going to make the better days ahead of this country, we've got to pour into education like never before. We will win this fight because, like I said, this is by, for, and about people. And in this country, people always win. It may not be during our time, but what are we as teachers? We're giving to the people. And we're running our part of this race. Our part of this race says, what will you do when you have the baton? I want my kids to say, my dad helps society. I know you want that for your kids, your grandkids, or the kid across the street. Somebody you care about is planning on you doing the right thing. We've got to get this right, or our country is going to be in peril. I heard somebody else say, I love this country. There's no better place on the planet that I'd rather be. But for that very reason, I deserve the right to critique it every day. I have the ability to do that. I have the ability to critique and to help at the same time. I do it to my kids. I do it to my kids every day. My daughter is in medical school. She's one of the smartest people I know. She went to school to be some kind of gastroenterologist. I don't even know what that means. But, I critique her every day and says, this little boyfriend you have, you gotta watch this guy. Because I'm a dad first, right? But she's doing all the right things. And that doesn't mean I love her any less. That just means I am watching. And I'm going to invoke my opinion because it matters. Because I'm always going to be a dad. Anyway, that's the side. Listen, we can never turn down the volume of free speech. And for the last 2 weekends, I have been in Texas. And you're going to make me an honor in Texas one day, okay? You get like a 10-gallon hat on some bullets. Okay, I want everything. So, it's large. You can't tell? Listen, that's right. What I want to tell you is thank you, because I was in Houston last week. And I saw 15,000 people turn out. Where in Texas, people thought there was going to be nobody turning out. The word on the street in Washington, D.C., where I work, is that, they don't turn out in these places. But let me tell you something. They stood up and stood out. I had a young man earlier who told me, a young man earlier told me just created a local, and it had 200 people. And for some Texas town, that's going to be 1 million folks. Because it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your station. You do what's right and your values are first. And you speak truth to power, and we're not afraid See, what this administration is counting on is to be afraid, to cower, to bend the knee, to say, no, you got it. Okay, no. We cannot do that. Because if you have ever wondered what you were doing in the civil rights movement, wonder no more. No more. See, because when I learned history, it was black and white movies to me in the 60s and 68. And I saw water hoses, and I saw dogs, and I saw people cursing people because of the color of their skin. I saw people cast aside because of who they were and where they came from. We're seeing literally the same things today. Literally the same thing. This is not a total whistle anymore. When you have the military on citizens in the United States, the last time we had the military in the United States was to protect the people. 1968, protect the people. Ruby Bridges, Little Rock Now, all of those things. The National Guard protected the people. That's what we have, the National Guard that is going to protect the police. What are we doing in this country? And so we got a lot of growing to do. And so I want you to know that I just really stopped to tell you that we must resist. This administration cannot shut down voices. They cannot disappear people. My friends, they have disappeared people off the street. No matter what side of the immigration idea you have your mind on, remove yourself from them. They are removing people, human beings, putting them on a plane to a place where they have never gone. That's not civil society. That is not a republic. That is not a democracy. That is not the United States of America. We don't do that. Yes, we have a system that we have to address. No one disagrees with that. But you don't disappear people. That's other nations. That's the difference between this shining city on a hill. That's the difference of who we are. And so you cannot threaten us with the military. You can't take our colleges and our universities and infuse ideas that gets us one against another. You can't take away Social Security, the safety net that all of us have worked for. Your parents have worked for, your grandparents have worked for. And you're trying to take away that, and you're trying to reverse poverty in this entire country. You're taking from the poor to give to the rich, to oligarchs, to billionaires. Billionaires do not run this country. They do not run this country. Our public schools are not for sale. You can't voucherize your way to academic success. You can't privatize your way to children learning. We know that it costs money to educate students. It's very simple. Because if you're a rich person and you send your kids to private schools, it takes money to do that. So why wouldn't it take money to do that in the public school setting? So there's a messaging issue that we have to deal with. Dr. King said in one of his last speeches, he said, if you ignore the poor, and if you ignore healthcare and education and living wages, the whole system will collapse and explode. The cost of too high to do nothing. Every time we fail to educate a child on the front end of life, it costs us on the back end of life. And I always tell people, our children will take care of us one way or another. We make bad adults when we don't feed into young children. Every time we allow people to attack our teachers and schools and students, get attacked on the soul of who we are. We are not the thing. We are not the enemies. Each one of us went to a school of education or a second career or love these kids or love our community. We took a job where we know we wouldn't get rich. We took a job where we had to give back. Where you give back your life, blood, and soul, spend your own money every day. And so, my friends, we need a movement. Our country is being fought politically every single day through money, through corporations, through racial inequalities, and it just seems hard time after hard time after hard time. We need a conversation that says some issues are not just policy issues, not just right or left. Republican friends, not just Republican or Democrat. but the centerpiece of our deepest traditions, our values, our faith, our morality. We did not go after politics. Politics came looking for us. I want politicians who care about who we are, care so much that you want to create public policy. I don't care about what your lips say. I care about what the pen says. Because you may say the right things, you may couch the right things. You know, they got all these great names for all these bad laws. Great names, you know, and Florida, man, they dress it up all kinds of ways. Man, this is the Empowerment Act that's gonna cure everything. And it's the worst bill we've ever seen. And they drape it in the big, beautiful, whatever. That's not what, and you know, I'm heard a little kid in here, so I'm gonna hold my tongue today, okay? So, because I'm a teacher and a dad at heart, so I won't do it to you, okay? But know that a swear will come later on, okay? Because sometimes when you're talking about these folks, it just, you know, it's hard. And so, listen, the same people voting against public education vote against women's rights. The same people voting against public education vote against labor rights. Same people vote against LGBTQ, they vote against education. The same people voting against education are voting against our immigrant brothers and sisters. So you and I, whoever you come from, must be smart enough to hook up. We got to link up and link other people with us. We cannot do this in isolation. It takes partners, it takes allies, it takes co-conspirators, it takes all of us pushing the same agenda. Reverend William Barber out of North Carolina would tell us forward together and not one step back. But to move forward, you got to put your shoes on and you got to get to work. And so I'm going to ask the only thing that I've ever known. If you want something done, you have to ask a busy person. And everybody in here is busy as ever. So I'm going to ask you to get to work and do some more because it's depending on us. It's depending on us. A small group of people get everything done. My pastor used to say 20% of people in church do 80% of the work. Okay, 20%. Okay, and you, but if we can increase that 20% to 30%, and God bless us with 40%, and we get to 50%, man, we got some action here. We can change Texas. So, you know, it's very simple. My messaging is really clear. I remind people every day, if you don't read history and you don't care about that, that's fine. No problem. You don't read the newspaper, you don't watch TV, that's fine. No problem. I ask you to read your paycheck. Read your paycheck. And then understand your paycheck and who's taking what and why you making this. Don't blame the union, blame the folks for that. You can read your paycheck. Let me explain it to you a little bit. Let me explain the details to you to why teachers are some of the lowest paid professionals in the country. That means something. It should mean something to you. It should not. It should not be a thought process that, oh, we're downtrodden. It should be, how do we raise that? How do we move that forward? And who is responsible for that? So there are three types of lawmakers that I know. Those lawmakers who left you in despair, those lawmakers who put you in despair, and those lawmakers who helped you in despair. And you've got to figure out which one you have. There are a whole lot of lawmakers that are putting us in despair today. And so I'm asking each one of you, if you believe that teaching was never meant to put you in the penthouse, it certainly shouldn't put you in the poorhouse. You got to fight. You got to fight them. I heard the young lady mention the Department of Education. So, you know, I've been working in Washington, D.C. I thank Zeph and Wanda for getting me out of the craziness that's Washington, D.C., if only for a moment. But there's some crazy stuff going on up there. The Department of Education is one of those crazy things. Listen, you make the bureaucracy, nobody likes it. Nobody likes the fact that we do that. But it gives us a house to deal with Title I. It gives us a house to deal with civil rights compliance. It gives us a North Star to deal with our most challenged students, our most vulnerable students from rural populations and from low socioeconomic status, so we can deal with early childhood education and after school programs and Those things matter. And we are dealing with an administration, whether you're Republican or Democrat, they have no plan. How do you have no plan for 49 million children who are depending on public education? You know, they have no plan. If anyone ever asks you, does public education still do work, do this litmus test for them. And I don't preordain this to any meeting, but it works every time. When everybody in here who attended public schools, please raise your hand. Somehow public education still works. Somehow it still works. You got here. Do that in any meeting you're in. Any meeting in America. It doesn't matter if you go to small, it doesn't matter if you go to the metropolis, New York, it doesn't matter if you're on the coastline of California. Every meeting it works. Somebody's graduating from public schools. That's your work. That's your work. Mr. Lawmaker, you're sitting there because a public school teacher poured into you. You're sitting there because somebody didn't give up on you. You're sitting there because a first grade teacher says, hey, sweetheart, you can be more than what you see. Sit down, get right, act right, get along with your fellow man, learn some math and science. It's simple, it's a basic message. If it was good for you, why isn't it good for these young people? Because you're trying to do reverse Robin Hood in 2025. I don't talk much about this administration, but I'm gonna say one more thing. James Baldwin reminds us that ignorance, allied with power, is the most ferocious enemy that justice will ever have. He said it one more time. Ignorance, allied with power, is the most ferocious enemy that justice can have. Now, I'm not calling the administration ignorant. Maybe I am. But you're ignorant about facts. Public education is the cornerstone of this democracy. We can prove it time and time again. And time and continuum since its inception has been the waymaker for our young people. Whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Asian, whether you're Latin, it doesn't matter. Public schools work and they can work better. We're not without fault lines. We're not perfect people, but we are called to a perfect mission. That's our children. Because 10 years from now, these kids are going to take care of us. And so as you continue to organize, because I was glad to see all the organizing going on, makes my heart swell. Because that means that there's still hope out there. That means you can still have those conversations and convince those people to make sure that we know that voices matter, that together we're stronger, that if you build a base of people, it is better than the person. And so I want you to keep it peaceful, because we're saying that in every message. Because people are counting on us to do some stupid stuff out there. And we don't want anybody, especially this union, to go out there and do silly stuff. We keep it peaceful, we keep it calm, we stand on our values. We don't get angry, we get to work. And so the old folks used to say, don't ever argue with a fool in public. Because the people passing by can't tell the difference. So stay calm. Stay calm. Stay calm. And so I want you to recommit to this fight. I want you to do something. I want you to engage others. I want you to act. I want you to march. It is important. In this hour, we need a dedicated circle of transformed non-conformists. That's what I'm ready, folks. I like that. Byron Winston, and he was here, the great organizer for the 60 March, would remind us that this moment in time requires a group of angelic troublemakers. And so I'm asking you to be an angelic troublemaker. As a high school teacher, I came by to give Texas AFT a big A. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Give yourself a big round of applause. But I would not be the hard-nosed teacher that I was known to be if I didn't give a couple F's. So I came by to give you all a couple F's. Okay? So I want you to hold on. I don't want anybody to take it personal. Okay? You know, when talking to teachers, oh, who's picking F? Everybody in the room. Just keep in mind that F is my favorite letter because you can't say better without F. Okay? My first F that I'm going to give to you today is faith. Have faith. I'm talking about the godly faith. If you're spiritual like me, then yes, I am. But believe in something bigger than yourself. Believe that tomorrow is going to be better than today. Believe that each generation must be better than the last. believe that this country has not seen its best day. Have that faith that drives you, that makes you want to do something more. That when you want to give up, when the days are hard, that it puts something in your gut and says, keep going. Second effort that I'm going to give you is family. Not talking about your husband or your wife or your significant other. Not even talking about your children. I'm talking about your extended family. I'm talking about your union family. It's hard to be a union leader. Leadership is lonely. Leadership is a lonely place. I used to be a book. And I used to get all these people in my classroom. They come in the bedroom. I got the biggest room in the whole school. Hey, Ingram, listen, he cannot keep us 10 minutes past the bell during this, I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to let him know in the morning before the meeting starts, but I need everybody with me. I would go in the principal's office and I would say, hey, all these people, give me a second. All those people have an issue with what's going on with our meeting. We've all been there. We've all been there. We know. And see, working for a union is tough now. It's kind of like emergency room doctors, right? Emergency room doctors, what do they have to do? They have to have a spine steel, right? You see all kinds of stuff. Knife things, something wrong with somebody's eye. Every single patient you got to start over again is a face thing. And nobody comes to your office to say thank you. And nobody comes in the emergency room and say, oh, you got the best of the best. Thank you. Or I just stopped by for a minute. I've never had that happen to me. People come to you, they're triage. Their life is in jeopardy. Principal just made a life decision on me, and I need you to fix it. Right? Anybody ever been in that situation? I'm like church here. I came 2 days up. Listen, I need you all to recognize that you're not by yourself. Yes, it's a lonely place, but leadership matters. It matters. So the family, understanding who we are and whose we are, and we're together in this. 2 more F's. 4, what do we want? We fight back a lot. We fight bad bills all the time, bad politicians. What do we want education to look like? What does the classroom look like? We still are educators at the end of the day. We've got to be defiant on what we believe education should be. I don't believe that we should be teaching to a test. I believe that we should have teacher autonomy. I believe that we should have more resources. And I believe we should embrace technology. I believe the classroom should be open. I think we ought to take a look at the time that we deal with school. I think we ought to take a look at certain things and what do we want that education to look like? What does forward look like? So I want you to really think about that, because in the union movement, we get caught a lot of fighting back. But parents want hope. Communities want opportunity. Communities want to know that you are the best of the best, that you bring the best practices to our profession, and you want the best for our students. And the last thing that I'm going to give you is fight. Don't stop fighting. No matter what, we've come too far to turn back now. We have come too far to turn back now. It's that fight that starts in your belly, that gets in your head. The fight that starts in your mind. It's in your spirit. It's that fight that you say, I know that I'm doing this for all the right reasons. From the courthouse to the White House. Don't stop fighting. You're going to hear Randy talk about the 4 fights that we're having in Congress. We're having a fight in commerce. We're having a fight in the courts. And we're having a fight in the courts of public opinion. And so I don't want you to stop fighting. Whether it's in shines or it's raining outside, no matter if people like you or don't like you, no matter if the day is hard, no matter if they support you, don't stop fighting. Our future is bright. Is Texas AFT going to fight? Yes. Is Texas AFT ready for the fight? Yes. Are you all built for this fight? Yes. I know you are. I know you are. I've been here 2 weekends in a row. Racist leaders know I know you guys are going to fight because you are Texans. Everything's bigger in Texas than they tell me, okay? So I'm going to depend that the fight is so much bigger here that it is going to resound around this country. Listen, if we can change Texas, and I mean that in all jest, and I'm not making that up. If we change Texas, this comes from Southern Boy. If we can change Texas, we can change this country. We can change it. Y'all hang in there. Y'all hang in there. Y'all hang in there. Y'all hang in there. Because we don't get this thing right. God bless you. And
Thank you. We love our Secretary Treasurer. Okay. I know people want to take breaks. I know we're behind. We got some business that we have to move to. This is the point in the convention where I relinquish the chair and bring in the chair of our elections committee, who will go through the votes and run the convention through the elections process.